I'm a poor wayfaring stranger.
I tell the story because I read this many years ago. I was preaching in a Salvation Army church, and I picked up their magazine, and there was a story in it about a man who had been a missionary in Africa, and he lived in Africa for most of his adult life with his family, and they were being reassigned, come back to the States, and their time as missionaries was over. And this is back in the early 1900s or late 1800s, and of course the only transportation was by ship. And if you've ever seen any of the pictures of ships back in those days, as going in or coming out of a port was a big, big deal. You know, it wasn't common like it is common today.
Like New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So, and of course, that's the way the wealthy people traveled, particularly because they had to come from England over to the United States. And so this ship was filled with a lot of wealthy people, dignitaries. And as they were coming into New York Harbor, there were brass bands, there were people there with all of the, you know, throwing the confetti and all this, and the docks are just crowded with people, and they're all waving and cheering these people coming home. But there was nobody there to greet this missionary family. And there was nobody there playing brass bands for him and his family. And yet he had been serving God incredibly as a missionary in Africa for all these years. And he said to the Lord, he said, why is there nobody to greet me when I come home? And he said he heard, I'm going to cry, he heard the voice of the Lord speak to him and said, you're not home yet. There's going to be a lot of cheering when we get home.
The saints that
But we have to have that sense. Yeah. This is not home.
No.
This is temporary.
That's right.
I mean, a year or so ago, Alice and I, we were on one of our trips to England, and we were getting ready to come back. And somebody said to me, you know, we were in London, and we were flying out the following, we were there like on a Friday, and they said, you're going home on Monday? And I said, only if the plane crashes.
That's right.
That's the only way I'm going home. We have to get rid of that sense of attachment to this world that the world so desperately wants us to have, and come to this sense of attachment to Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And that we are here as sojourners, as aliens. And that's what the Word of God says.
Right.
Just passing through. We're here as ambassadors for Jesus Christ. There's no sense of permanence. Those things are locked integrally together. Either a sense of permanence or a sense of eternity. We need to get that short-timer's attitude. Not one that makes you careless. No. Not one, but it gives you a sense of urgency to accomplish the purpose that God has. Because if you are here, if you are a Christian, and you are here on this planet, you are here on this planet for one reason and one reason only, because God has a purpose for your life that will glorify His name, that He will use you to glorify His name and touch other lives. It's not about you.